I had trouble figuring out which case is supposed to be which, but let's look at this in depth. This is just the original trilogy. Let me think about this. This is 5-5 from Trials and Tribulation, so this is Bridge to the Turnabout. Let me think about it in detail. It was good. The villain is Goda, which is disappointing to me. He's too sympathetic of a character to really be a great villain, so that knocks it down a little bit. So that'll be like, we'll start with S for each one and drop it down per each thing. So villain is disappointing because it's too sympathetic. The case itself is good. You get to see Edgeworth in Trial a day. It's epic scale. I don't like the spirit medium stuff in general, but I think A is okay for it. This is the killer case. I think I can barely see it, but it must be. Yeah, that's him handing the bear. So this one, okay, let's start at S and go down. So villain is very disappointing because it's on guard the whole time. You don't get to take down the killer. The case itself is kind of convoluted. That second day is way too long. Too many old characters like Wendy Oldbag. So it's a B, maybe a C. Maybe a C. I'll have to think about it. Okay, this is the recipe with Furio Tigre. So you go. I like Furio actually, so I won't give it a minus for the villain thing, but the subject matter is weird. All the stuff with the mirrors and the kind of convoluted stuff. And then the characters aren't that interesting. The old guy, he's kind of annoying. Who else even is there? Yeah, I'll just say the characters are weak and the story and everything is weak. So it almost deserves a C, but I can't quite justify why. So I guess I'll leave it in the B for now. Which one is this supposed to be? Probably 2-2. I think. I'll assume it's 2-2. So we'll start at S and we'll say, maybe I should start at D and justify why it deserves to be up. But whatever, we'll start here. Okay. Villain is okay, so I won't give that a minus. The spirit channeling being such a big part is annoying though. And there's some convoluted stuff with the box and the whole thing. The twins, the eeny meeny, switcheroo, clinic. It's a little messy, but it's not terrible, so it gets a B as well. I would say it's at least better than that one though. The recipe. This one's almost C. This one really should be C, but okay. This is the best, obviously, ever. Great villain, great story, great subject setting, Edgeworth backstory. Just an amazing one. That's an easy S. First turnabout, it can't be too hard on it, but villain's not that impressive. It's too short. It's not that deep or interesting, so I mean it's just not much to it. This is the first case I think of the second game. It must be. So villain's trash, story's trash, memory loss gimmick, and just short, uninteresting, reuse of characters, whatever. This one is which one? I actually don't know which one this is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be mask to mask? I guess it would have to be. It doesn't even look like. I guess there's no other one for mask to mask, so it has to be. This one was an amazing case. The villain is amazing. The story's great. The fake out, double jeopardy. The fact that your client is technically actually guilty. This one deserves an S, I would say. I can't think of anything really terrible about it. Even the wife character was really interesting. Desi, this was a great case. Luke Atme is up there with villains. This is 4 of the third game. This would be some good throwback stuff with Edgeworth. It doesn't really make sense because it's like a draw, so they both lose, but Edgeworth is undefeated, so it was a bit of a retcon. But it's good. What didn't I like? It's kind of inconclusive. You don't get to any end. And it could sit in an A. I wouldn't mind that. It's a little too short, but I actually don't mind leaving that at A. It's just good. This is the big top. Everyone hates this one. I don't hate it as much. I mean, the whole theme of magic. Characters are annoying, uninteresting. Acro is good as a villain, though. I like Acro a lot. Kind of like the D. Vasquez, cool and calm and collected. So there's just a lot of convoluted trash in there. The backstory is stupid with the pepper thing. Yeah, I'm not crazy about it. This one is very good. Probably be an A. Von Karma's good. The case is good. The backstory is good. The witnesses are a little annoying with the old guy, especially. What's his name? Yanni Yogi, right. Yanni Yogi. That was a little bit bad, but other than that, it's pretty impressive. So I'll put this in either the first or the second. One thing I give big bonus points is premeditation. So the original crime wasn't premeditated, but the Gourd Lake one was. He wrote it all out and he planned it pretty much in advance. So I like that aspect. This is the first case of Trials and Tribulations here. So let's see. Villain, disappointing. I don't like Dahlia. The overly referential Phoenix stuff. The subject matter is okay. I don't even remember who were the witnesses besides Phoenix, though. Phoenix and Dahlia, that might be the only two. But this is borderline C. There's certainly nothing special about it. It was just kind of mundane and short. I have to give this credit just for being longer, I guess, but not too much. Case 3 in the original game, I really like D. Vasquez, like I said. Some annoying side characters like Old Bag. I always give a minus for dealing with a subject matter like that, like the Steel Samurai. It's just not an interesting subject. And then it's not bad, but yeah, I found the investigation kind of boring, so we'll give it a high B, I guess. High B or low, maybe mid B. It's okay. It's one of those filler kind of just cases you gotta have in there. This one I thought was really good. It's kind of introduces you to the whole mechanics, and the whole hotel vibe is like a very cliche but good aspect of mystery and noir. This one's good, so I'll just give it a minus point for maybe being a bit too cliche, and red white is kind of disappointing. He's not quite smart enough, so maybe I'll give it a high B, a top B placement. That seems okay. And let's see if I can't find characters. Let's do characters. So this will be a lot. Holy shit. All right. Let's see, Acro. I'll just go in order of this, so I guess it's alphabetical. So Acro I like as a villain. He's good, he's cool, he's calm. He's not suspicious. Even if you don't like the case, I just love his personality. So he's not the best, but I should actually make a criteria here. I'll do like... Here, I'll make a little criteria in the corner. So I'll say, one factor is a good character. Or I'll do specifically villains. Good villain. Kind of an oxymoron. Stature. I.e. chief of police or ordinary person. So that gives them a lot of plus. What else do you have? You could be... Let me think. The manner of the crime. Was it premeditated? Well executed? Etc. And then 3 would be, how well do they defend and worm themselves out of accusation or avoid it altogether? Like if they only get accused late, like Von Karma gets marks for that, although he gets negative marks because he kind of folds too easily, but I'll give some points for that. So I like this. Stature, meaning chief of police, would be an example of positive stature. Like, so he's earned a position that gives him great power and ability to avoid any consequences for his actions. Manner of the crime would mean, again, is it planned out? A lot of these aren't very well planned out or executed, but it's important. How well did they defend themselves? What's a good example of that? Like D. Vasquez being able to stay calm and collected and stuff is very strong. So let me think about it. Adrian Andrews is, I thought, was a very good character. But she appears in a couple different ones. Like what? The 2-4 and 3-2. She wasn't that interesting in 3-2. But she does go through some character progression, so that itself is good. It's hard. I would say she's an S though, because they just put so much into her. She starts off, she's smart, then she has a vulnerable side, then she has a more clumsy side. I will give her an S. Lugami gets an S. I'm more concerned about villains, but I'm fine with that. Very well planned. Maybe one of the best planned of the whole thing when you think about it. You look at it and you say, I mean, we can have this as a reference. Like, if I look at this, I'll say he has minor stature because he's only a detective, but he has some reputation. Manner of the crime is 5 out of 5. Amazing. Very well done. And he defends himself pretty well. Those were some tough testimonies to crack. Especially the last one is insane. So yeah, he meets the criteria very well. This guy is kind of annoying. Only thing I'll give him credit for is that he's actually a successful criminal, but I don't know. Yeah, he's annoying though. I don't like him. She's just a legend of the past. You don't really even meet her, know anything about her. So it's hard to rank. So I'll just leave it at 5. Or I mean at D. And then Angel is one of those cliche. She always talks about food. That's her character. So she only avoids D because she had some good moments later on, and she used to be the interrogator queen, cough-up queen, but very close to being a D. Because it's like a gimmick character. She's just always talking about food. That's it. April, May is just annoying. That's pretty much it. She is just an annoying character. She is okay. I don't remember the extent to which she does things. She kind of helps you in a few interesting ways, though. Grammar, not really getting into apologist shit. Let me think about it. He was kind of annoying as a gimmick, just like talking about magic all the time. So D could just as easily be unknown or annoying. C could be gimmick or one trick. Literally, in terms of like a magic trick, one trick. Like Ron is quiet and he's nervous. That's his whole thing. Some depth. Great depth. And all around characters. So she's been pretty good on the stand. She talks her way out of things. Well, she kind of talks her way into them too, because she acts kind of suspicious, but she's pretty smart, actually. That you don't see at all, really, so it doesn't matter. Bellboy was good. He was almost interesting enough in the short time he was there, where I would give him a B. As bad as that seems. But no, he should be top of the gimmick category. This guy was a gimmick character, but he was pretty funny, so I'll give him some credit. He was well written, at least. She's annoying. She's annoying. Fucking annoying. Him, he's a victim, right? So you don't even see him. She has some significance because she was the mentor of Adrian Andrews, so I'll give her some credit. They bring her up a lot. Dahlia, I don't really like as a villain, so I'm not too keen. I'm almost doing that just out of pity because she's such a significant character, but really, there's nothing about her that I like. I can't quite place where I would put her. I guess I'll leave her there for now. This is a victim, Cindy Stone. He's annoying as hell, holy shit. I'm trying to keep unknown to one side though, at least. So unknown don't get any benefit really. He's really annoying though, holy shit. Ariana, I didn't mind. He was interesting in some ways as a character. That case was kind of a disaster, but I think that's a good spot for him. Joe Dark I thought was cool, but since he's unknown, I can't give him more than that. Well, like I said, I'll keep him separated though. So he's the best unknown character because you don't even get to see his face. He's just like a mystery. D. Vasquez was very good. Borderline S or borderline all around, but let me refer to this again. So stature, she's a producer, so that's good. The crime was not particularly impressive because it's self-defense and happenstance. She's almost a victim, but she's very good at worming her way out of it. So she's like an A+. Interesting that these two are together because they're both similar personality types, like stoic and calm, etc. So that seems reasonable to me. This is like a victim and 2-1. Ezrath is an easy S. It's hard for me to really argue that. Maybe even the best character in the whole series. Just smart, stoic, deep, not overly emotional. Way better lawyer than Phoenix. This is not really much to appreciate here. I don't really Now how to rank her. Emma, I wasn't a huge fan, but she's better than Maya, I'll say that. I'll say she had some depth. But see, even she's like a gimmick, because she's all about science. Look at my science thing. That's a really tough one. She's either right here or right here. She's the definition of a gimmick, though. Just because you see her a lot, she's always just talking about science. Yeah, she doesn't deserve more than that. The painter guy. The thing I'm confused about with her is she's like playing a double role, so it's... I'll just leave her there. Drew Misham was okay. Always talking about art, am I right? Francisca I found kind of annoying. Maybe I give her a little bit of depth. I'm also taking into account Ace Attorney Investigations, otherwise it would be much lower. She's way more interesting there than in the actual Phoenix Wright series. So, yeah, she's borderline bad. Gant is amazing. We'll put him up there. So again, he definitely has the stature. In fact, the whole stature category is almost based on him, because he's chief of police. Manner of the crime wasn't great. They were both spur of the moment. The SL9 and the Goodman murder were both spur of the moment. So that part is not the greatest, but he defends himself very well. Although he does rely on his chief of police powers a little bit too much. And we'll see that come into play a little bit. If I can, like, you know, these two will connect. Because it's how much do they rely on stature. Also, here, let me put a note. Also, how much do they rely on stature to get them out of trouble? Question mark. So the reason why that's relevant is, we'll get into it later, but remember that as a side note. Let's keep going. So he does rely on it a bit, but he's just very interesting. Kristoff is interesting, but it's kind of much to do about nothing, because he's... Let me think about this. There's a lot of fucking characters. Holy shit. Alright, we'll go... Where was I at? Oh, Kristoff. Yeah, his crimes are about such petty, stupid things. That's what I don't like. He has stature. He's a great defense attorney. He has, manner of the crime is okay. They're somewhat planned out. I guess the stamp thing. He defends himself pretty well. He's just kind of... His motivations are not what I like. They're just weird. He does it for such stupid reasons. So he's somewhere in this category. I'll actually say I like Vasquez more though still. This guy is somebody I don't fucking... Like, these are victims, or you don't see that much of them. I honestly don't even remember some of these faces. Bad is okay. He's almost a gimmick in some ways, but he had some depth. I'll put him right above Francisca. He had some cool moments. The fact that he's a Yatagarasu member is also really cool though. So I have to give him credit for that. He slots in somewhere here. Hard for me to say. I guess I'll put him right there. Some depth, but not a ton. You don't see a ton of him. This is a favorite of mine right here. This is a big one. This might actually be the best in the whole series. I know some people don't like him because it goes on so long, but that's more so a fault of the case. He has all three, truthfully. This is the best example. He's an ambassador, very high stature. Manner of the crime was premeditated. He planned to... he plans all the crimes for the smuggling ring, but also as far as his murder, he planned to meet Kochin there. Now Kochin is capable himself, so he lands a blow in retaliation, but he did plan it out. At least it was premeditated. And the whole thing of transporting the body across the water. So it was very methodically planned. And how well did he defend himself? Evidently too well, because people get annoyed by how long that goes on. And the biggest thing is he pulls out all the stops. Like, even when you strip away his ambassadorship, he didn't rely on that to get him out of trouble. He reminds you why he's there in the first place by going on for so long, making every argument he needs to make. And he's the one villain in the whole series that did this, that no one else did. Which is when he's caught, there is no what if. Like, why didn't he say this? Why didn't he say that? Or, oh, he could have done this to get out of it. He tries everything. So that when you actually finally get to the end, you know there's nothing he could have done. He tried every trick in the book. So that's very satisfying and important. Pelano is okay. I mean, you don't see much of him. I'll give him some depth. Minor. You don't see much of him. I guess maybe you're supposed to think could be the villain at the beginning, but that's about it. Victim or somebody. Emma, I mean, it's the same thing. Maybe a little better. She does have more of a significant role there, but I don't know why you're putting multiple of the same character. Oh, that's from Ace Attorney Investigations. Yeah, that's fine. Francisco from Ace Attorney. Oh, okay. In that case, I'll say she's annoying, and in this case, I'll say she has some depth. That makes more sense. Like here, it's hard to even tell. Like, but this is obviously the older one. Gumshoe, but from which one? I mean, either way, has some depth. He's funny. He's okay. He helps you out of a bind a few times. Put him like right there. This guy was annoying as shit. Garbage, villain, quote unquote. Fucking trash character. These were both annoying as hell. Callisto Yu is very good. She's smart. She's plans out her shit pretty well. Right hand of him. She's more like an A than an S though. I'd say she probably fits. It's hard to dethrone D. Vasquez though. She's very cool. I guess I'll slot her right there. She's kind of like Kristoff too, defense attorney. Very smart, capable. I like that. That kind of fits. She was okay. She had some depth, I'll give her that. But some of these side characters with a little bit of depth, more so than just being gimmick. She wasn't a gimmick character. This guy was cool, but you don't see enough of him. I liked him actually, but he should have been like a major villain. You don't actually take him down in any meaningful way. Like, he could have been the true final boss or something crazy. So that's a bit of a disappointment. Judge from the past, I think, in Ace Attorney Investigations, case 4. It's stupid how they put multiple of the same character. Like, I think of everything to do with the character for the character, so I don't have to have separate versions. Like this, I'm thinking of the first game too, not just investigation. Judge. I mean, I'll say he's a gimmick because he's just comic relief. Kay, I don't like as much as Emma, so I'll put her a few slots down. She was kind of annoying, honestly, but some people like her. This is Von Karma from Investigation, so he would be much higher. Maybe even great depth. The way they portray him. But I'm thinking about Investigations 2 as well. No, he goes here. That's fine. For fuck's sake. Vern Faraday you barely see, so not much to see there. Larry is annoying. I just don't like him, but he does do some helpful things. He saves you, in fact, in case 4. So I have to give him some credit for that. Pretty much as her, who doesn't even appear in the series. So is this from Investigations? I don't even know what this picture is from. But she's not particularly interesting. Some of these characters are just annoying. So this is Manny Cochin, who barely appears, but he's very significant. And the fact that he lands a strike on Alba, of all people, has to give him some amount of depth. Yeah, that strike alone. If you wound this dude, you get up a lot. I have to give him some credit for that. That's badass. Even though he's an old man. Meekins is annoying. Not much to say there. Just some of these characters, man. Alright. This guy was a victim. Isn't he the victim in case 3 of Investigations? Okay, when the old man's annoying. Lang. Lang I'm not crazy about. I'm trying to think. He was okay, but he was nothing special. Yeah, he doesn't quite deserve even the some depth category. He was just okay. I guess that case 5 Gambit though, he helps you so much. He actually saves you in case 5. The way he accuses Francisca, that was pretty amazing. I have to give him maybe the same credit as Gumshoe. I'll put him below Gumshoe a little bit. If it wasn't for that case 5, because he doesn't appear in anything, he appears in cases 3 and 5 only. So it's kind of a limited window to see. I'm not taking into account the second game either. This is supposed to just be the first game, I guess. Sheena, I thought the twist was kind of stupid here, but it's also Callisto U, so... I mean, it's the same character, so I can't really distinguish them. They're the same person. I liked her better as the defense attorney self. Trash. This was a disappointing villain. It's one of those really weak villains. Who doesn't even... In fact, isn't she the first villain I have down here? She was just mediocre. Maybe here. Really nothing special at all, though. Even he was more interesting. He's like, fitness is his gimmick, but he's not bad. This guy was annoying. Yoda is good. As a character, it's almost hard to separate. As a character, he's good, but as a villain, he's bad. Because he's too sympathetic to be actually a good villain. So... maybe he fits here. I guess I'm not crazy about him. And I'll attack his record that way too. He goes in, he says, oh, I'm undefeated as a prosecutor. But he loses to Phoenix every single case. So he's very unintimidating. He loses case 2, 3, and 5. So what does he do that makes him threatening or intimidating? Nothing. So I'll put him here. I'm not crazy about him. Goodman. I have to give him some credit for catching on again, at least. I'll give him that credit. Gregory Edgeworth is significant, but unless I include Investigations 2, I can't really give him too much credit. But he also wounded Von Karma's ego so much. Yeah, I guess one trick means they did one great achievement. So they both, he put it, chink in Gant's armor, he put a chink in Von Karma's armor. So that's kind of a cool analogy. They both landed a hit on the guys up at the top, so that earns them a right. Whereas Manny coach for that. Oh, I guess he went too high for that. He's okay. Put him like right here. He's a victim, but yeah, I can't give him too much credit. Let me put him at the bottom. Rosberg is actually pretty interesting. I'll give him everything he went through with red, white, and he can be very helpful. I'll give him that. He deserves it. Gumshoe again. This is from the original games. Pretty much the same thing. I'm not going to distinguish them too much. This guy's annoying. You don't see much of him, so yeah. Or any of him. Hammond was significant though because he had that great description of how he's defends his clients for himself, not the client's sake, so that's interesting. Phoenix from Apollo Justice. I'll give him some depth. I mean, he is the driving force of the whole story, though. I'll put him with Goda. Like, he's good, but it's also not where you want to see Phoenix at. As like a sideshow. This guy's annoying. I'm pretty I don't know, I put people in the annoying category without much thought sometimes. This is like a gimmick character. I guess he could be gimmick too, but he's just annoying. This guy's annoying too. Most of these characters are annoying. She was okay. She had some depth. Just hard to distinguish villains from characters. He's a gimmick character, but he had a little bit of depth. So I feel like he should be a little higher. Maybe not though. No, he gets on Gant's nerves too. I'll put him a little higher. This is the Juan Corrida from 2-4. Not much to really say about him. This guy was at least better than the other judge. But they're pretty much the same thing. Not really much depth, I wouldn't say that. The judges all are kind of the same thing. This is Shady Smith. Not much really there. Now, I don't know who this is supposed to be. I guess this is also Ron. But at least I'll give him more credit with the character he created. Maybe. Diego Armando is not bad. I mean, it's the same person. Like, how do you distinguish them? This is from the original game, Von Karma. So he is kind of one-dimensional in the sense that he's just portrayed as a bad guy, but he keeps Phoenix on his heels the whole time. Like, when you think about it, from the beginning of the case, it's like... Let me think about it. Like, you start off... Let me actually write a whole thing out for Von Karma. So day one, you're on your heels from the beginning, right? You're fighting to cross-examine. Grasping at straws already. So you're already dying. Day two, you get a guilty verdict. Saved by Larry. And then day three, or was that on day three? The guilty thing. No, it couldn't be. Day three is not so much on the edge, but the way it starts just so one-sided. You can see how he could go undefeated for 40 years. So who's next? Another annoying gimmick character. So many of these are throwaway characters. That's what I don't like about it. She was kind of cool, but not more than a gimmick character. She's kind of smart though. Annoying. Javier was not particularly interesting to me. I'll give him the bare minimum depth, like maybe right here. She was okay. She's the singer. Not much to say. Lana was very interesting. I'll give her great depth. Very accomplished, capable. Me as the idol, kind of. She goes through a lot. She's kind of annoying with how she doesn't help you in the case, but just as far as, yeah, it's hard not to appreciate her character. It's disappointing she didn't appear in any of the other games, actually, the way that Emma does. Larry, same thing, pretty much just annoying to me. Lotta is very annoying. You would think I hate the series, given this list, but some of these characters, man, are just trash. I don't remember much of what this guy does or says. So, whatever. She wasn't that bad, actually. Maybe I'm misremembering. She was actually really interesting. She saves Ron a couple times and messes with some stuff. At least my memory of her is very interesting. She's like a gimmick for sure. Nothing special. Matt is okay, but disappointing as a major villain. Max was really annoying too. No depth here. Or we'll give him he's just annoying. I actually would almost put here. But where's Emma? So she's below Emma. Where's Emma? I'll put her like a little bit ahead of Kay before Emma, like right here. Not a huge fan of her. Meekins is annoying. Didn't we already do Meekins? Mia. Yeah, this doesn't include young Mia though, does it? Wait, where's young Mia then? Wait, where'd she go? The fuck? Why are there so many versions of other characters but not Mia? Alright, whatever. So I'll count that as young and old Mia. So she was pretty interesting. Can't really argue with that. She helps Phoenix a lot. When you get to play as her in Trials and Tribulations, it's pretty good. Cases 1 and 4. She's the other twin. This is one of the worst villains in the whole series. I hated her. Just annoying, uninteresting, no stature, no nothing. Just trash. Trucy I like more than these. So I'll put her in some depth. Like right here. Right around the gumshoe category. Don't know what to really say about Missile. Misty, you don't see anything really of her. Annoying again. She was okay. She should get the some depth right around the top, like right here. Yeah, these three have something in common. Like they're all older, accomplished, kind of smug. They all do bad things. It's a good category. This guy was stupid and annoying. Apologists. This guy, you don't see any of him. This is the victim in 3-1. Apollo is nothing special. I could give him like right, maybe right next to Clavier. Actually, they're pretty much the same. There's nothing memorable about Apollo. He's just a guy who does the case. Nothing memorable at all. Victim, he made that super expensive shit though. That should put him ahead of Joe Dark at least. Wendy is annoying as shit. Again. This guy's kind of stupid too. Payne. He's good comic relief at least. I'll put him ahead of Larry. I guess that's fine. Pearl is okay. It's kind of hard to rate her. She's just kind of okay. Somewhere in there. Penny I kind of liked in some ways. Somewhere in here. It's hard to really say. Phoenix, I'm not too crazy about. I'll give him some depth. But for a main character, I'm not blown away. Maybe like right ahead of Francisco would make sense. See, that's the difference between Phoenix and Edgeworth. It's like, he's actually a good character. He's just a vehicle for the player to experience all these things. Will Powers was kind of annoying. I'll give him some credit though. Defendant. Now here we get into the point I was making earlier. With the stature issue. So he starts off, let's say, at an at best top tier. He starts out here. He has the stature, but the manner of the crime wasn't that good. He just walks up to her and just kills her. And how well does he defend himself? Not very well. And he relies completely 100% on his stature. Just like, I'm red white, I should get away with it. But that doesn't happen. He falls apart super easy on the sand. So I should put him kind of in the mad on guard category, where they should have been better than they were, but he relies on his stature and blackmail. He relies on the killer to do everything for him. So that's a very fitting category. And then Regina Berry. She would be annoying, but she just fits into being slightly interesting because of how innocent she is. It's kind of entertaining to watch. This is... who is this again? The victim of some kind. I think it's just the victim in the third case of Apollo Justice. Who knows? This guy was talked about in such a positive light that I have to give him some credit. Like, he was said to be like a saint. He helps everybody. Everyone loves him. So I'll give him some credit. Thawit is annoying. He's just annoying. I'm not giving him any credit at all. This guy was weird. I'm gonna give him a gimmick spot though, because he's supposed to be creepy, and that's his whole gimmick and fetishy kind of. Polly, again, I don't know what to really do with that. The killer is very cool. You don't see enough of him though. Just his whole persona and how capable he is. I can't include investigations 2 here, but if I did, it would be better. So you definitely feel his presence is the point. Alright, how much do we have left? Not much. You might think it's a cop-out too. Cop-out to put so many in this category, but truthfully, like, who would you vouch for here? These are annoying, stupid, trash gimmick characters. And even more gimmicky than the actual gimmick character. I stand by it. This guy's like some big mob boss, so that's cool, but who cares? Emma again. This is from Apollo Justice. Or am I getting them mixed up? Well, whatever. Emma's always around the same spot. Where did I put the other Emma? Like right here. Now this is from Investigations. This is from Apollo Justice. Walkie was annoying. This is the big magician guy. Somebody. She was kind of cool, actually. I'll give her some depth because she had that creepy vibe about her. She can get anybody killed that she wants. So that Furia Tigre is doing whatever she says. This guy's stupid, annoying. Even him I found annoying. I'll give him a little bit of credit. Nothing really special about him though. She's the victim in 4-2 or 5-2. Or no, she's in the... Isn't she Dahlia's sister? I don't fucking know. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? And Furia Tigre is going to be... I personally like him, but you can't give him more than a little bit of credit, like right here. So that should be about it. Which of these do I not stand by? Like a lot of these guys, they're just victims. You don't even see them. So who cares about these, right? This is the who cares category. Completely unimportant, insignificant. Nobody gives a shit. And yeah, nobody really cares about any of these characters. Maybe Francisca, but she's annoying for a lot of her role. These are like characters with minor significance, minor impact. They have some kind of reputation, like the stories told about them. They say he's such a good guy, he got on Gant's nerves. They help you a little bit here and there. They have some significance, but not much. I'm not crazy about any of these. None of these are like the best in the series. Some people love Maya. I'm okay with this position though. A lot of gimmicks. They just talk about food. Where's Marshall? Where's Jake Marshall? I put him maybe a bit too high. But he does do some interesting things, in addition to being the gimmick character. Emma is all about science. Judges are just judges. She had some interesting moments, not too much. Pretty basic. These are characters who have some categories, but not all the categories. So he has the stature, but not much else. Just bland, uninteresting protagonist. He was interesting. He was really interesting, but his crime is kind of awkward. So it's hard to fully justify. Pretty much same old, same old. It's interesting that I find this Phoenix more interesting than the regular Phoenix. And bad is helpful in some ways. A lot of stature, villains, sympathetic villain. These are the badass characters right here. The killer's badass. Rosberg is very important and significant to the story. She was pretty badass. Acro, cool, calm, collected. Very good villain. Good in every way except for his motivations are just weird. Very capable. Idol to Mia. Just a great character. I love Lana, aside from her being annoying and not helping you. These two are the same person, if you couldn't tell. Very capable, smart, just intelligent. Good villain. He's significant. I'm including a lot of the spirit channeling meetings, otherwise there wouldn't be much of her. And the younger version, so there's a lot there, but she's very capable. Dee Vasquez is also like Acro, just a bit smarter. And the crime isn't as fucking haphazard. Von Karma. So this is mainly from the first game that I'm thinking about. This is from the investigations where he has some on. You know, I could almost reverse these, because the problem with him here, despite how capable he is, that's kind of my feeling. Despite how capable he is, he's like a gimmick. I'm a bad guy, look at me, I'm big, bad, run karma. Here it's more like he's talks about the nuances, taking people to court, or chasing after people who can't be brought to court, stuff like that. Yeah, he was better in the investigation games than in the original. A lot more depth to him. Adrian Andrews, complex character. Some people might not like this position, but she was good. She had a lot of different roles that she played. Luke Acme, one of the smartest villains in the whole series, underrated. Edgeworth, best protagonist for sure. Very smart, very capable. Gant, one of the best villains. Only problem is his crimes aren't premeditated. If they were, he'd really just be the best. But they're both spur of the moment, right? He sees everybody passed out and he takes advantage, and then he just stabs Goodman on a whim, on an impulse in the evidence room. So they're both impulse. And then Alba, all around amazing. He puts up a great act in the first half. Feeble old person. Then when he's under pressure, he applies his ambassador power, his stature. And then once his stature wears out, he still shows you how capable he is and makes his case very well, about as well as anybody else in the series. And he premeditates his crimes, and he's a leader of a smuggling ring, which also ties into stature. So he's absolutely number one for me. That was pretty fun.